Continuing education has always been at the heart of our profession, but in today's rapidly evolving world, it's no longer enough to simply maintain the status quo.
Right. Libraries are increasingly called upon to address emerging needs, whether that's supporting research impact, navigating data ethics, licensing scholarly output, or responding to the growing importance of artificial intelligence and data science.
And while the skill sets may change, one thing remains constant: the need for flexible, cross-profession learning opportunities that help library professionals stay ahead of the curve.
That's exactly what inspired the Leading Project, a multi-year program supported by the Institute of Museum and Library Services. Our goal was simple but ambitious: help graduate students and early career professionals build real data science expertise.
Over 4 years, Leading worked with over 80 fellows, each participating in a 6-month intensive fellowship. And what we found was powerful. Each fellow came in with a unique background, set of goals, and a hunger to grow, and left the program with newly acquired data science skills, an expanded professional network, and the success of working on data issues in an applied setting.
It was incredibly rewarding, but it also got us thinking, what comes next?
How might we build on this experience, not just with another fellowship, but with a new approach that could support the broader LAS workforce?
And that's where DATALIS comes in.
Hi, I'm Eric Mitchell, University Librarian at UC San Diego.
And I'm Kevin Popovich, Principal at The Idea Guide. We're excited to share what we've learned through the DATALIS project.
This work is the result of deep collaboration across institutions, and we want to start by recognizing our incredible team members, including Crystal Goldman, Jane Greenberg, Jonathan Wheeler, and Rachel Frick. Their insight, commitment, partnership, and creativity created every phase of this effort.
Together, we've explored how professional education in libraries can evolve to meet the real-world needs of today and tomorrow.
Over the course of 4 years, Leading supported more than 80 fellows, each participating in a 6-month immersive fellowship experience.
And what stood out from us was how different each fellow's journey was. They came from a range of backgrounds, brought unique perspectives, and had very different needs, and yet they all found value in the experience.
That diversity really opened our eyes. It showed us there's no one-size-fits-all path in professional education, and it made us ask an important question.
What's next? How might we reimagine professional education, not just for a few, but for the broader LIS community?
That question became the foundation for DATALIS. We'll talk more about DATALIS and everyone who provided input in the next few slides, but I want to start by recognizing the 12 fellows and team members who partnered with us on DATALIS throughout the project. Leading was developed following a pilot effort called LEADS, which also focused on growing data science skills in the LIS profession. Both programs were made possible through the generous support of the Institute of Museum and Library Services. Throughout the program, 4 core partner institutions, led by the Metadata Research Center at Drexel University, collaborated closely to make Leading a reality. But we didn't do this alone. We were fortunate to be joined by dozens of institutions from across the country, organizations that hosted fellows, contributed mentors, and shared their time and expertise. To each of them, thank you. If you'd like to learn about Leading and its impact, we invite you to visit the Leading website. The Leading project was grounded in the belief in the power of continued learning to help us adapt, grow, and serve our communities better. That's why we went all in on creating an immersive fellowship experience that served as a professional accelerator. And it worked. Fellows reported meaningful learning outcomes, and some even shifted their career trajectories entirely because of this experience. But we also saw the limits. The model was resource intensive. It required a level of time, funding, and coordination that simply isn't scalable across the profession. And while it worked well for some, it wasn't the right fit for everyone. So as we started thinking about what comes next, we zoomed out. We explored a range of other models being used across LAS, degree programs, credentialing, workshops, mentoring networks, and we found a wide spectrum of approaches, but no single model that can meet the needs of a diverse and evolving workforce. That's when it became clear. The challenges we're facing is bigger than a single program or model. What we're really asking is, how might we help libraries collaborate to innovate professional education in ways that truly impact recruitment, growth, and retention? And that's the problem DATALIS set out to explore.
And rather than trying to create a leading 2.0, we stepped back and asked a different question. What if we explored a wider set of pathways for professional education? Something more flexible, more inclusive, and more responsive to the changing needs of our field. That's how DATALIS was born. The name itself reflects our intention, data for the insights we needed to gather, and LIS for the field we're working in, library information science. Our goal was to better understand how libraries might collaborate to innovate professional education. And to do that, we knew we had to reach a wide audience, people from different backgrounds, institutions, and stages of their careers. So we built DATALIS with a few key principles in mind. First, we used integrated marketing communication strategies, everything from branding and messaging to events and social media to raise awareness and drive engagement. Second, we grounded the project in a proven design thinking inspired process. We wanted to explore the problem holistically and create space for big ideas to emerge and evolve. And third, we focused on building momentum as we moved through the process so that participants wouldn't just engage once, but they stay connected and inspired to carry ideas forward. Daedalus wasn't just about finding answers. It was about creating a movement, one grounded in collaboration, innovation, and the shared belief that we can do professional education better. To guide the Daedalus project, we leveraged a process called the innovation funnel, a structured, research-based methodology that I developed through my work at San Diego State University, in my private practice, and most recently at UC San Diego. We've used this approach in a number of large, complex initiatives, including a project with the San Diego Supercomputer Center, exploring the psychology of wildfire awareness, and another collaboration between Student Affairs and the Office of Research and Innovation that focused on scaling paid undergraduate research through the SPUR program. What these projects taught us is that when you bring people together around a structured, innovation-centered model, you unlock new ways of thinking about shared problems. You give people the space and tools they need to think creatively, critically, and collaboratively. The innovation funnel, or IF, is built around 6 distinct interconnected stages: identify, learn, work, develop, present, and synthesize. It starts, as any good process should, by making sure we're solving the right problem. In the identify phase, we bring together preliminary research and stakeholder input to frame a clear, shared problem statement. That's important because one of the more common pitfalls in innovation is solving the wrong problem really well. Then we move into learn. Here we engage the community through surveys, workshops, and activities like Rosebud Thorn to explore how people experience the problem. This is also where we start to show that this process is very different, transparent, collaborative, and rooted in real data. That's how we build trust and earn participation in the next stage. During work, we invite participants to start imagining solutions through facilitated workshops, both in person and online. We use ideation tools like sketching, role-playing, and prototyping to bring those ideas to life. From there, we enter the develop phase, where we refine those ideas into tangible prototypes. We test them with stakeholders, iterate based on feedback, and continue refining until we're confident that these ideas are viable, desirable, and feasible. Once we've built strong prototypes, we move to present, sharing these solutions with a broader audience for feedback and evaluation. This includes public showcases, surveys, and interactive Q&A, all designed to validate the solutions and gather more input for improvement. Finally, to synthesize, we bring it all together, analyzing the data from each phase to understand what we've learned, what worked, and what's worth scaling. What made the innovation funnel especially powerful in Daedalus was how tightly it aligned our research goals with our communication strategy. Every phase was designed not just to gather insight, but to engage the community, build momentum, and create a sense of shared ownership over the process and its outcomes. It's not just a method, it's a mindset, one that prioritizes collaboration, iteration, and impact. As we moved through each phase of the innovation funnel, what emerged was both inspiring and actionable. We ended up developing 13 unique solutions, each one grounded in real insights from the community and centered on the core challenges we started with. How might we help libraries collaborate to innovate professional education that impacts recruitment, growth, and retention? Now, what you'll see on the slide here is our refined problem, updated through the input across every stage of our process. As these ideas came to life, we began to notice several common themes, recurrent patterns that reflected the evolving needs of our profession. Flexible professional development, solutions that support learning pathways across different career stages and schedules. Mentorship and peer support, ideas that strengthen guidance and connection across the LIS ecosystem. DEI integration, a strong focus on inclusive practices in hiring, training, and leadership. Leadership training, equipping professionals to lead change and shape culture. Recruitment and retention, strategies aimed at sustainability and long-term satisfaction. Cross-sector collaboration, building bridges between libraries and other community, academic, and industry partners. These themes became the through lines of DATALIS, and they point toward where the professional education and LIS can go next.
We didn't just stay with our initial problem statement, as you saw. We iterated on it based on what we heard, what we tested, and what resonated with our community members. In the end, we surfaced 11 unique problem areas that reflected real pain points and opportunities in the LAS profession. These became the foundations of the solutions you saw on the last few slides, each one a response to a specific nuanced version of the broader challenge we set out to evolve. And now we'd like to show you just one solution pitch from one of our teams.
Explain it. How might we empower library workers to pursue skills that will enable better communications and decision making at all levels of the library and foster a positive experience that reflects the needs of all stakeholders, including library leaderships and workers and users?
All right, thanks.
So something we acknowledge, so we have this Venn diagram here, and we talked about the perspectives of library workers, as well as library users and leaders, and we recognize that sometimes these are overlapping. You might be a worker who is also using library resources, for example. These arrows represent different types of communication, so we talked about maybe challenging a hierarchical vision of the ways that leadership can happen, so enabling communication across different levels. And the arrows are different colors because depending on the situation and the person, you might need to use a different communication style. I forgot what these ones are. Does someone want to fill in?
This is the elevator right here, so this is who we're pitching to. Okay. They're up on their high horses. These are the people we have inevitably left out and not considered, and that's future research will build upon ours. So we're always forgetting and leaving something out. So this is the opportunity for folks to continue the research.
So this kind of little sticky notes is sometimes people kind of same, even leadership can be, same heads. And this is sticky note, you can just unstick and stick it, and then the whole heads can be kind of moving part, and can be changed every single time and depending on the situation and context.
So we're excited about what we learned through DATALIS and thought it'd be helpful to share the 3 tools most productive for use in your next community-focused project.
One of the most productive conversation starters we used through DATALIS was the how might we model. It's a simple but transformative phrase. It opens the door to possibility, invites creativity, and sets an optimistic solution-oriented tone from the very beginning. But crafting a strong how might we isn't just about filling in the blanks. It requires intention. We use 4 guiding prompts to help participants structure their thinking. First, help who? Who are we designing for? Who is most affected by the challenge we are trying to solve? The more specific we are, whether it's library staff, new graduates, mid-career professionals, or underserved communities, the better we can understand their needs. Second, do what? What's the change we're trying to create? This focuses on actions, behaviors, and our experiences we want to improve. Are we trying to expand access, simplify learning, or foster mentorship? Clarifying this gives direction to our innovation. Third, achieve what goal? What does success actually look like? Are we aiming for increased retention, more diverse hiring, stronger engagement, or improved outcomes? Defining this early helps shape solutions we can measure and implement. And finally, by putting it all together in a how might we statement, we create a shared starting point for ideation, one that's grounded in empathy, informed by research, and pointed towards action. The second tool is the design thinking process. At the heart of the innovation funnel and much more of our work is design thinking. It's a human-centered process that helps us solve the right problems in the right way. It starts with empathize. We take time to understand the people affected by the problem. This includes their needs, challenges, and lived experiences. This builds the foundation for everything that follows. Next, we define. This is where we clarify the real problem, not just what we think the issue is, but what the research and voices in the community tell us it truly is. We synthesize, sort, and get focused. From there, we move into ideate. Now that we understand the problem, we can start generating a wide range of possible solutions without judgment or limits. Creativity is the name of the game here. Once we have ideas, we start to prototype. That doesn't mean a polished product. It could be a sketch, a simple mock-up, a role play. The goal is to make ideas tangible enough to explore and communicate. Then we test. We put our prototypes in front of real users or stakeholders to gather feedback. What works, what doesn't, what needs to evolve. Finally, we share. We present the story, the insights, and the impact. We celebrate what we learn and prepare to move the work forward. If you want to deep dive into this process, we've got a whole set of tools and resources available at theideaguide.us.
The third tool allowed us to turn feedback into quantitative data. To guide development, prioritize impact, and ensure relevance, participants evaluated each of the 13 DATALIS solutions using a 4-question form that was designed to assess feasibility, desirability, viability, and impact. Each criterion was rated on a 0 to 10 scale, where 0 equals not at all, and 10 equals most definitely. With just 13 solutions, we received 404 evaluations from a diverse group of LAS professionals, librarians, students, educators, and administrators. This structured evaluation process enabled us to make data-informed prioritization of our prototypes. It provided us with validation with input from across the LAS profession, and it gave us a transparent and repeatable framework for decision-making. The result was a ranked list of solutions based on average cumulative scores, ensuring that the most promising ideas surfaced for potential implementation. Before we wrap up, we want to highlight a few key takeaways from the DATALIS project, lessons we believe can inform how we all think about professional education, innovation, and community collaboration in the LAS. Our first takeaway is the value of a research methodology, in our case, the innovation funnel. It helped fill this major gap in LAS professional education understanding, and it wasn't just about generating ideas. It was about building a sustained, iterative, and inclusive process that leveraged the collective intelligence of the field. Second, we saw so much value in having a community-driven and inclusive innovation approach. Our process was powered by participants. They brought us the data, the expertise, the insight, and their feedback helped us make informed decisions about what next steps to take. Third, are the ability to develop actionable field-tested solutions. The result was 13 low-fidelity community-vetted solutions covering real issues and grounded in the day-to-day experience of the professionals across our project. And fourth, we really came to appreciate professional education as an overarching organizational strategy. The work we talked about wasn't just about individual learning. It was about helping organizations reimagine how professional education can support recruitment, retention, and growth at every career stage. And finally, we really noted how participation is not the same as engagement. True innovation didn't happen at our first meeting. It happened through the sustained involvement we had from our community members using structured, thoughtful, and iterative processes in the innovation funnel.
These takeaways remind us that when we build the right process, invite the right people, and stay committed to collaboration, we don't just generate ideas, we generate momentum.